Alright guys, so we're now in take 3 of me trying to make this video because my mic just does not like working for some reason. But nonetheless, here we are. The Houston Rockets might have put around James Harden the best team that they ever have in James Harden's tenure. And not at a better time, considering that James Harden now reportedly wants out of Houston. We don't know how true those claims are. I mean, Woj tweeted it, so I guess it is probably true. But Houston has probably used this season as a last attempt to say, hey, look, we can build a championship contender, a championship winner around you in Houston. You don't need to go anywhere else. And so I'm going to break down, number one, all of the major offseason moves, both the signings and the departures. And then I'm going to discuss both my predictions for how this team will do in the upcoming season and also why this team is the best team put around James Harden in his Houston career. So let's get started with the signing of Christian Wood. Of course, on a 3-year, $41 million deal. If you want me to break down the move itself more in detail, there's a separate video on that. I'll put it up here. Also, along with a bunch of other major free agent signings that happened on that day. So if you want to watch that, check that out. Christian Wood, in my opinion, if he continues playing in the trajectory that he was playing in that second half of the season in Detroit, will become the best the best center that has been around James Harden in his career. Or more specifically, the best fit of a center with James Harden in his career. Yes, he did have Dwight Howard, who is, of course, an all-star caliber player at that time. He was a very good player, but he couldn't shoot the ball. I don't know how great of a fit he was. He obviously didn't like being with James Harden either. Clint Capella, of course, a great young talent, great asset. He also couldn't space the floor, and that definitely hurt the Rockets. But he was also a very good center. But Christian Wood, he is the first center put around James Harden, the first real center, not PJ Tucker, that can shoot the ball, and he can shoot it well too. Shot 38.2% from 3 last season, I believe, or in the second half of that last season. And he's going to be a great fit around James Harden. He has that double-edged sword. He's great in the pick and roll if James Harden wants to run that pick and roll, which he of course will want to. He's great for that. He's also a very good floor spacer. They can still play a version of small ball without actually having to play small players. They can still play. They can still have the advantage of having rebounding and glass cleaning and rim protection while still being able to play a 5-out, no one in the paint, shooting threes all day system that they want to. And that versatility of Christian Wood is why I think he's the best player or the best center that James Harden has played with in his Houston career. Now, as for Russell Westbrook, this might be even more impactful for Russell Westbrook since he now has the ideal fit. He has 4 shooters around him in Christian Wood, I guess PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon, and Daniel House, I guess, is probably what they're going to be playing around Russell Westbrook. And that's going to be a great fit for Westbrook. He now gets everything that he needs to excel in Houston. And I think that this will mean that Westbrook will have another great season. Granted, he stays injury-free. Moving on, the next major signing for Houston, DeMarcus Cousins. And this one I'm more optimistic about this than other Rockets fans or just general NBA fans have been. I think DeMarcus Cousins will be great in Houston. I don't think he'll be like Sacramento Boogie by any means, but he will still be a great player considering his skill set and what he brings to the table. He will do great in Houston. He can do everything that a Houston Rockets center should be able to do. He can run the pick and roll very well. He can rebound. He can play in the paint. He can shoot the 3. He's also a pretty good passer as well. Just about everything that you would need in a center that you would put with James Harden and Russell Westbrook. He's going to do great. He's going to be a very good addition for Houston. That is my prediction. Again, like I said, he's not going to be Sacramento Boogie, but I think that he will be a great player coming off of the bench for Houston, and I think he'll do very well in this team. Now, coming up next, we're going to talk about the major losses for Houston, starting up with the biggest loss for Houston this offseason so far, and that is Robert Covington being traded to the Portland Trailblazers. This is a tough one for Houston. This is a byproduct of Tillman Fertitta's grave fear of the luxury tax more than anything else in life, and it's unfortunate that we couldn't keep Covington, but I think for what we got back, which was cap space for Christian Wood, I think it was worth it. Of course, if we were somehow able to keep Robert Covington, I think that this team would have been probably the biggest threat to the LA Lakers in the Western Conference. That's my opinion. But we couldn't keep Covington, and that's a big loss. We lose a archetype or a prototypical 3-and-D wing. He shoots the three very well. He plays great defense, and he would have been a great piece to have on the Houston Rockets, but he's gone. Wish him the best in Portland, and he's a great fit there as well around Dame and CJ, exactly what they needed. Next up, the loss of Jeff Green, who signs with the Brooklyn Nets. This one also a very tough loss. Jeff Green was a great piece for Houston, had a career resurgence. My God. Had a career resurgence while he was in Houston, and I think he'll be a tough loss for the Houston Rockets. He was that guy. He could do pretty much everything. He kind of played point center in a way. There were numerous plays that you could find. Jeff Green was bringing the ball up, and they did this sort of reverse pick and roll with Jeff Green and James Harden, I think, and that was really fun to watch. And he will again have been a very good piece to have off of our bench for Houston. Could have played a little bit of small ball center if that's what Steven Silas wanted to do. But yeah, it's a tough loss, but I think that for what we got in return, we'll be fine. Finally, my outlook for this team, and I think that my expectation as an unbiased commentator, I think that the Houston Rockets team will be a 3 seed this tournament. I don't think we have what it takes to beat the Lakers, to be placing higher than the Lakers in the regular season. I also don't think we have what it takes to place higher than the Clippers in the regular season. But I think we have everything that we need to be the third best team in the Western Conference. And I think that is where we will end up, which I think is the best place to be, since you avoid running into the Lakers in the second round, which of course gives you the advantage of going deeper in the playoffs, and that's always nice to have. And I think we'll win somewhere around 45 to 50 games out of this 72-game season, which is not bad at all. That's not a bad finish at all. And as far as playoffs go, I think that we're going to make it to the conference finals. That's my unbiased prediction. I think we make it to the conference finals and lose to the Lakers. Now, as my biased Rockets fan prediction, I think we finish as the 2nd seed. And I still do think that we lose to the Lakers, but in a 6 or 7 game series. Maybe we might beat the Lakers, but it's a very, very small chance. Everything would have to click in order for us to beat the Lakers, and I just don't see that happening realistically. And yeah, that's about it for my thoughts on the Houston Rockets off season so far. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.